All right. Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of the Ball Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Ahmed.
I'm Joel.
I'm Will.
And I'm Lucas.
So, this is the football podcast. We're going to be talking about the sport of football, soccer. Most of us, we watch mainly the Premier League, La Liga, Champions League. So, we're not going to talk about other leagues outside of those too much, but we will be sure to provide our insight on the leagues that we are aware of. Hopefully this podcast will be a bi-weekly, twice-a-week podcast. We'll be uploading hopefully 2 episodes a week. The schedule is yet to be determined, but that will be released soon. So my name is Ahmed. I'm a Barcelona fan. I've been a Barcelona fan for 8 or 9 years. Messi's better than Ronaldo.
I'm Joel. I'm a Man City fan, as you can tell. Been a fan for like 11-ish, 12-ish years. I also have been an Austin FC fan in MLS since literally day one.
Yo, I'm Will. I was born in West Ham, London, 2003. Since been a Chelsea fan, loyal to the badge. I'm a day one Austin fan, and I support Barcelona.
My name's Lucas. I've been a Chelsea fan since 2015. I'm also half Brazilian, so that's the other nation I support, apart from the USA.
Okay, well, since we've all introduced ourselves, I think this is called the Ball Knowledge Podcast, and ironically, we do have a subjective opinion on what the definition of ball knowledge is. So I think a good starting point would be to discuss what we think the actual definition of ball knowledge is. Does anybody want to go first?
I think Joel wants to go first.
Joel, go first.
I think ball knowledge is a combination of both a tactical understanding of the game and then just knowledge about the world, transfers, teams, facts, stuff like that.
I think ball knowledge is just the second part. I don't think technical understanding is as important when it comes to talking about ball knowledge, personally.
For me, I'm gonna kind of go off what Joel said and agree with him that it goes with a tactical understanding and also like keeping up with what's happening in the world of football.
Well, for me, guys, it's simple as just knowing the game. You don't have to know all the players to be a good, knowledgeable player in the sport. You don't have to know all the transfer rumors.
Well, your opinion is wrong, but it's fine. So, the topic of today's episode, episode 1,
I think part of the ball knowledge, though, Ahmed, I think part of the ball knowledge, though, is you have to be able to make informed opinions about players and teams and stuff. And you can't do that with just knowing facts. You have to have some tactical understanding about the game to be able to do that.
I'm not denying
where players should be on the field, where they shouldn't be.
I just think ball knowledge. When I hear ball knowledge, I don't really think of tactical understanding. I think tactical understanding is important, but I just feel like the actual playing of the sport is more important. Knowledge of the players is more important.
But then, how can you determine which players are good? Is it just all quantitative? Is it just only stats?
Well, some people have never played soccer before in their life, but they have a good general idea of what players are good, what players are bad, why they're good, why they're bad.
Yeah, because they have a tactical understanding, even if they have never played. They've watched enough games to where they understand the way the game is played and how it should be played.
I can agree with that.
Taking a player like Casemiro and seeing how he plays and his positioning on the field, you just know that he's a great player and the reason that Man United has turned their season around.
He's a really, really good player. Probably one of the best defensive
Brazilian
midfielders in the Premier
fanboy
League.
over here, bro.
So I think our definitions of ball knowledge are pretty set. I think now we get into the main topic of the episode, which is going to be transfers. Obviously, it's the January transfer window right now. There's been a lot of transfers occurring. Some pretty big ones. I think one of the biggest ones that happened recently is Mudryk to Chelsea. So we do have two Chelsea fans. I think it'd be appropriate for them to start with their opinions on that transfer. Does anybody
Yeah,
want to
thanks,
start
Arden.
Wait,
between you
Will.
two?
I thought you were
So,
Barcelona.
I support Barcelona. I was born in West Ham, London. So, but yeah, that is huge transfer for Chelsea. I think that our lack of goals is somewhat to our coaching, but a lot of our players just aren't good. Mount is so bad. We need more creativity. But with the addition of Foden and Mudryk, I think that Chelsea's attack could get a really good boost.
Foden. That's a little bit interesting. I didn't know he was linked with City.
Foden. Did I say Foden?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought I said Mount.
No.
Bro,
Or
Lucas, what are your
Mudryk.
thoughts on Mudryk to Chelsea?
So ever since Hazard left the club, there has been no like attacking threat on that field. So I think Mudryk is just a player that can just one-on-one go at players, get by them and score. Whereas like he's also big enough to where he can compete with defenders in the Premier League, where Pulisic is kind of smaller, same with Ziyech, and they're also kind of injury prone. So I think he'll be a good addition.
I think you're forgetting someone, Lucas. The guy that came from here. Raheem Sterling is that man for you guys right now.
He has not played up to par for Chelsea this season.
I agree. There is a little
And
bit
I
of
don't
talk
know
about
if
his price
that's
tag as well.
because
Say it. Say it.
so what? Say what?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Ahmed.
I think we don't understand.
What are we talking about?
Go ahead, Ahmed.
I was gonna say there's been a lot of talk about his price. And I think today's market is so different to the market even like 3, 4, 5 years ago. He was 88.5 million euros. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you think that's too much for a player of his I guess competence? He hasn't had that many seasons he hasn't played that many seasons as a professional. His stats, his goals and assists are not anything crazy for how many seasons he's played. What are you guys' thoughts on Chelsea spending 88.5 million on him?
The market's just
You got it, Lucas.
changed. I mean,
Joel's got
attacking
it.
players are just worth more now.
I would agree with that. I think 5 years ago, 100 million now would be about like 150 million 5 years ago, if not more.
It's also just clubs are paying for talent now more than anything.
Yeah.
I think when Barca paid what was it, almost 100 million for Dembele when he was like 20, 21 years old, that it kind of like put a
Okay.
different thought in clubs' head to pay for
It was the
talent.
Neymar transfer.
Well, where did Barcelona get that money from? Wasn't it a Brazilian that went to PSG that same season?
I mean, what does that have to do with this?
The fact that PSG paid more than double what Barcelona paid for Dembele.
Look, the money doesn't matter. Mudryk is gonna flop the same as every single Chelsea transfer in the past 2 years. He's
I have a
think
good
it's
feeling
really
about him.
ignorant to say something like that.
Well,
even if he has, Chelsea just needs to stop worrying about transfers so much and focus on their own academy, and then they can start being better. They need to get. They keep trying
They
to
do
get
have a good
attacking
academy.
players that they don't need. They should like Thiago Silva, best transfer they've gotten. Old defender, not some young winger. Like they need transfers like that, people who be leaders, and then just get guys from their academy. They're wasting too much time and money on transfers.
Well, you guys aren't going to be saying this when Chelsea wins the Champions League this year. So.
I
Well,
agree, Joel.
speaking of
I
Chelsea,
think that.
Well,
What
Will
about
was
Chelsea?
talking, Ahmed.
I'm sorry. My bad. Will.
I think that even though our transfers in the past years haven't been the best financial moves, we've had a lot going on considering uh, our our owner was Roman and he was Russian, so he was kind of what held the club together for a lot. And then when he got removed from the country completely, we got the American owners who don't know ball. They don't have ball knowledge.
They
Going
don't
So
have
off
the
of
ball
just
that,
knowledge for this.
if
splashed all the money.
if that never happened to Roman, Rudiger would still be at Chelsea right now because we couldn't sign him due to Roman being Russian.
So I do want to get into Chelsea's new owners, but before we get into that, I want to talk about Chelsea's other signing, Joao Felix, a loan for £10 million from Atletico Madrid. How do you guys think he's going to do it at Chelsea? I think personally he's going to do really good. I've always really liked Joao Felix, especially when he got signed in 2019 to Atletico. I just feel like him playing for a Diego Simeone club is not the best thing for him because unless you're Griezmann, no creative attacking player is going to do well for Atletico Madrid. I just don't think it's a good team for a young creative attacking player like him. I think Chelsea, even though they're 10th place in the Premier League, not doing too great, I still think there's a little bit more like freedom for him over there, and he has a coach that will probably supplicate to him better than Diego Simeone would. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
Chelsea fans want to go ahead.
Well, you got it.
I do think that João Felix is a great addition, and he showed himself to be a pretty creative player when he did play. It's just that we got him for like less than 30 games, and he's out for 3 of them. So while it was a good signing, he could have been more useful to the club if he didn't get a 3 game ban from that foul.
Yeah, like what Will said, as well, in those 60 minutes he did play, he was the most creative Chelsea player that I've seen play for the past 2 to 3 months for them. Um, I don't think the fee is really that important considering that Boli just goes around and drops 100K on or 100 mil on Ukrainian wingers, but it does suck he's not going to be able to play these next few Premier League games. But I'm excited to see what we'll do in the Champions League.
I hope he does good for you guys personally. Even though I'm not really a Chelsea fan, I really hope he does do good for Chelsea. To be honest,
Yeah, as a
Joel,
non-supporter,
any thoughts?
yeah, I'd say João Felix is definitely out of all of the transfers is definitely the one that I feel like could be like super effective for you guys. But I mean, 30 games, what's he got left? 20, 26 that he can actually play, and that's if he stays healthy and gets in, doesn't have any more disciplinary stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, so that was a good little talk about Chelsea's players. Let's talk about their owner, Todd Bowley. There's been a lot of controversy. Some people calling him the Ted Lasso of the Premier League. Any thoughts on him? I personally think he's incompetent. I think Roman was a better owner, even though ethically, he wasn't the best person. I think he was a much better owner. And I just feel like he handled a lot of situations wrong at Chelsea, Todd Bowley. I think, first of all, even as a non-Chelsea fan, I know how detrimental it was sacking Thomas Tuchel, even though he was doing really. I mean, he wasn't doing great for you guys, but he had a plan, and I think him prematurely just sacking him is the reason why you guys are in 10th. I think if Thomas Tuchel was still manager of Chelsea, you guys would probably be at least top 5.
I agree completely. TT was special. He was special for us. And he had just brought in a ton of players on this crazy budget with Roman. Roman got deported, and then was it Bowley that sacked Tuchel?
Yes.
That was definitely our downfall. He just didn't have the time he was supposed to be given on those players. So after he brought all those new players in, he got sacked, and then got a new manager who's bringing in even more players, all in crazy prices. I think Bowley is just he just wants to make the club really flashy and get in the headlines. I don't think he understands ball at all.
Too Americanized, you would say.
Hmm.
I think also before anybody else gets into that, I, I think it's ridiculous. I think Todd Bowley was the one that actually made the signings, not Roman, because I don't think Roman was able to make any signings. But for you to be able to give your manager that much, like give your manager all the players that he wants, give him anybody that he asks for, basically, and then to sack him like a few weeks into the season is just so stupid. And then give this brand new manager all these players that he didn't want and he didn't ask for. I think it's really immature from him.
Hmm.
I I don't follow Bully or whatever he's doing, but I just can't understand why he would have sacked Tuchel. Like he won a UCL in the first year he was there, and he brought the team back into UCL um, football after Lampard had Joe in the dumps. And then, I mean, I don't think Potter's a bad manager. I think once he's given time, he'll be. I think Chelsea will be back up. I think they'll be fine. But just on sacking Tuchel alone, that owner's got to go.
I think one issue I've noticed a lot. Sorry, Lucas. Before you get into what you're gonna say, one thing I really noticed a lot that happens in recent years that I really dislike is the managers getting sacked within like I don't think any manager should get sacked within 6 months. I think every manager should have at least a couple years to really like implement the plan that they have and get the players that they want because you can't really do much in a year. It's not really easy to do a lot in a year. I think Xavi's shown like at Barcelona that he didn't have he get we gave him a little bit of time and he pulled through. Mikel Arteta is probably the best example of it too. He did
Yeah,
really bad his first few seasons at Arsenal, and now they're first in the Premier League because they trusted him. So that's my opinion on that. Lucas, any
Yeah.
thoughts?
I don't know. It's hard to say already, like this soon, if Bully should just like sell the club already and he's a terrible owner. Um, I think there was more to it than just the results as to why Tuchel got sacked. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
him and Bully really got along with each other. I think Bully wanted Ronaldo, Tuchel didn't. I think that kind of played a part into it. I don't know. Yeah.
I agree with that. All right, well, let's segue away from Chelsea a little bit. Let's talk about some other Premier League clubs and their transfers. So here's a non-confirmed transfer from United is Wout Weghorst from Besiktas or Burnley because he's contracted by Burnley, plays on loan at Besiktas. It's rumored that he might join United. There's a few other strikers that are linked with United, Memphis Depay being one of them, Wout Weghorst obviously being the other. Who do you guys think United should go for, and what do you guys think of the players that they're linked with?
I thought Weghorst was already announced.
yeah,
Yeah,
No.
I'm pretty sure
Weghorst
he
was
already signed.
announced.
Oh, my bad, guys. All right, well, what do you guys think about the
Wow.
transfer?
I
Another over 30 year
I
old
know.
striker that United have
Yeah,
signed.
I was gonna say I know he's not necessarily an old man, but they just got rid of Ronaldo, and now they're bringing in another old guy. I don't like they had Cavani, didn't work out. They had Zlatan a few years ago, didn't work out. Why are they bringing in another old person? I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it's gonna work.
I don't think so
I
either.
I personally I don't see him playing that much to make a difference for this Man U team. Um, Rashford has been absolutely going crazy the past few games, scoring every game.
Being
Um,
offsides.
yeah, that's true. Um, so yeah, I guess it's because he's Dutch and big, but yeah, I don't know.
How much was Weghorst?
I think
it's
it's
free
just
because it was a loan.
it was a loan, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Well, it
Um,
wasn't
he's-
for free.
I'm sorry.
Because if he obviously wasn't for free, but I'm assuming it wasn't that big of a price because I don't know if he made that many headlines. I don't think United are gonna use him all that much, but it could be good depth for their squad in rotational games.
I agree. I think also another thing I wanted to say about United was they are doing fairly well for themselves. I think Ten Hag has done a lot better than people expected him to. They're in fourth place, I believe, and they're only 1 point behind Manchester City, which is incredible. They might be fourth or third. I'm sorry, but they are only one
I
point
think they're
behind Man
third.
City, which is third, which is really good for
Third.
them. But I think one thing that they are missing. Let me double check before we say anything else. Let's find out what place Manchester United are in.
I think Newcastle's in third because they just won.
I know for sure that United is a point behind City though, which
United's in
is for
fourth.
them is really good. Yeah. Well, I think one player specifically that they've been missing, barring aside any controversy, is Mason Greenwood. I think they needed a really clinical finisher, and I think him not playing for them is really hurting them. I think if they did have a player like Greenwood, like a young clinical finisher that can finish any ball, I think that's all they need.
As much as I hate to say it, all right, well, as much as I hate to say it, Bruno Fernandez is actually like really, really good for them, and I think he had us like just a run where he wasn't performing as much as he was last couple seasons. And I think that with Casemiro and now with Rashford playing much better and also some other attackers playing better, now he
Very
has
true.
the pieces around him. And I think he's just going to get back to like when we first saw him at United when he was just balling.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to Liverpool. Cody Gakpo signing for only a reported fee of 35 to 45 million from PSV Eindhoven. I think that's a great price for a great young player. He played really well in the World Cup. What are you guys' thoughts on this transfer? I personally think it's a really good transfer for them, and I think United would have been lucky to have him.
Does anyone want to go?
I can go. I
Okay.
mean, obviously, but you can guess that I maybe have never watched a PSV game, at least not recently. But is this not clear evidence of recency bias? I mean, same thing with Enzo Fernandez being linked with all the clubs, and for wasn't it like 100 million that he was going to go to Chelsea for?
120.
I mean,
Yeah,
120
120.
that's
million.
that's
Yeah.
just. I feel like, but I mean, Gakpo did go for a good price, and he is a good player. But I just feel like it's just recency bias with the World Cup.
He's on a crap team.
Isn't Liverpool
Liverpool
above
are in the
Chelsea?
mud, so
Not after this weekend.
So
I don't.
thoughts on Nunez
It-
as well?
Oh,
Flop.
he's
Terrible.
been
He's
unlucky.
not good.
I
I
forgot
think
who it
very
was,
good.
but one of the Liverpool players said that he was an unpolished diamond, that he was like a diamond in the rough, that he's a really good player. He just needs to fine tune some things. I think he's
He
Captain Chaos.
he gets into good positions. It's just he
He's
fluffs them a
offside, bro.
lot.
He may get good, but you can't pay 100 million for someone that might turn out to be a good striker. That's
Yeah.
just if he was less, maybe I wouldn't be such a big hater. But you just can't pay that much for someone that might be good in the future.
I agree completely.
Did you guys see that clip of him missing the shot exactly where Speed scored in the charity match?
Speed to Liverpool.
So I think we're
confirmed.
done slandering this player. A
What
bit of
about
an
Trent?
older. I like Trent.
No. Trent, I don't want to hear these best right back in the world claims anymore.
Yeah.
It's Reese,
Kyle
and
Walker's
it's
better.
been Reese for a while now. Okay.
Reese actually doesn't
Can
know how to stay
Ahmed?
healthy.
Can we talk about Arsenal and
It's one
Newcastle?
injury.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about then?
Just all their transfer stuff. Newcastle.
Okay.
I know they're both going for Osimhen, is that how you say his name?
Awesome, man.
Something like that.
Osimhen?
Osimhen.
Yeah,
I know they're
something
both
like
going
that.
for
Yeah.
him. Like I think that would be like critical for Newcastle. I think Callum Wilson is really good. Like I think he's a good striker, but Osimhen, he's young and he's on fire right now. I think he'd be a great person for Newcastle. And they've been
Didn't
getting
they?
some like
They just got Isak, didn't they? Though.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
he's
got Isak
injured.
and he just came back from injury.
And yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, Osman would be. He'd be good
They've
for
been
either of those teams.
yeah. I guess
I know.
Arsenal also with Jesus out. Go
I
ahead,
think
Lucas.
also about Newcastle is I feel like they've done the takeover of Newcastle has been done really well. I think compared to other clubs that have gotten take like a large sum of money and haven't done as well as Newcastle have. I feel like they didn't just buy the big name players right away. They bought a few really solid players like Trippier, who's I believe their captain now and one of their
Yeah.
best players. Bought Bruno Guimaraes, bought a bunch of really good players. I think now personally, I think they're at the point where they're really good, but they just need a little bit of depth. Like I don't remember if you watched the FA Cup game over the weekend, but they had a horrible starting 11 because they basically played their second team, and it was horrible. I think right now they can now I think they're at the point where they can start just buying these crazy good players, like
I
not the Mbappes of the world, but really really good quality players that way their current team can become their second team.
I think if they somehow, some way, were able to get Mbappe into that team and qualify for Champions League, they would
Get
have
Ronaldo.
some great pull to get some good players, and Newcastle would be finishing top four every year.
Will, do you think that Newcastle gets UCL football this year?
This year,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of early in the season. Let's see how many games have been played. 20 games, not even for most clubs. I don't know. I don't know if they can go the whole stretch this high. Also, I think Chelsea's winning the Prem.
Me personally, I don't think Chelsea's losing another Premier this year. They're gonna finish
They're
with
gonna
like
draw every
85
single one.
points, so
Hmm.
they're gonna
Chelsea
I
win
wins
every
out.
single.
I think Lucas is right with the or was it Ahmed with the depth?
Yeah,
Is that Lucas?
that
I
was on that.
if Newcastle doesn't qualify for UCL football this year, it's because of that. But I think after this
Hmm.
year, I don't. I think it's going to be a long time before we see Newcastle out of the UCL. And like you said, they're smart transfers. Trippier is genuinely one of the best Prem transfers in the past couple of years. Like he's so class for them. He's their captain. He also plays incredibly. He's a right back and he scores and assists almost every game, and he's a great leader for them. I think he was the best transfer they've gotten so far.
I
Eddie
agree. I
Howe's
think
also been
also
a
the
great manager for them.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe's great, man. I think the resurgence of Messi Almiron has done a lot for them too. Bro's been insane this season.
Thanks,
Ever
Grealish.
since
Thanks
Grealish made those
for
little
awakening that.
comments. Yep. So now I don't know if you
Joel,
guys want to go through. I'm sorry.
Joel, do you think City has the capability of catching up to Arsenal?
Yeah, for sure,
And
for sure. I think the problem is we're not, and I don't want to say by any like means that we're not trying in the Premier League, but I do think, especially now that we have Holland, our focus has become more on the UCL, and because that is the only thing keeping us from being the best team in the world. I think we're the best team in the world, but no one's ever going to credit that until we win a UCL. Um, and if Pep doesn't win one, even though he's the greatest coach of all time, he should he should be out. If he doesn't, if
He's
we
won one
can't
with
win one
Barca.
in the next 2 years, um, yeah. But I totally think we have the capabilities of catching Arsenal, and I think we probably will.
Who would
how
you want
long?
in Pep's place? You said you would want Pep out if he doesn't win the UCL, Joel.
Yeah, and if Holland stays, if Holland stays after the season, and we have him uh, and De Bruyne and Foden all playing at their peak, and we can't win a UCL with that with the rest of the team that we have. I don't know what else. I
Who would you want to take his place?
I don't know.
Zidane.
I don't. I think that if someone else were to come in, it would completely change the dynamic and style and structure of the team, which may be a good thing. Maybe it is our style. I've I've sat through too many games where we're down with 20 minutes left and John Stones and Aymeric Laporte are passing it back and forth 20 times in our half while we're down 2-0. Like I so I
Cut
mean
ball.
maybe it is the style, but yeah, if he can't do it with them, then we need to change something.
I think I do have a little bit of a theory about Man City and Pep Guardiola. I think when Pep leaves Man City, I think that the season after he leaves, it's going to be. I think if he leaves within the next 5 years, the season after he leaves is going to be either really bad for them. I think it can probably go really bad for them because I think that he's built like a system where every single player is a really good system player, and I think there's only a few players in the team that have like full creative freedom to do whatever they want. I think when your manager leaves and all your players are system players, the system's gonna crash basically for a season or two.
Yeah.
Right? So are we done with transfer talk, or anybody else want to bring up any other transfers?
I mean, Arsenal's eyeing. They're trying to get Declan Rice. They're trying to get Rafael. I saw something said they were rumored with Rafinha, and then I already said they're trying to get Osimhen, but that's not counting Declan Rice. That's three like really hot attackers right now, like
So we
which
can
with
just say all these
with
players are
Jesus
going
out,
to Chelsea, right?
who
Yeah, I
yeah
agree.
they're trying to cope. They're
Chelsea
trying to
got
cope
tired of
since
Barcelona
Chelsea's taking
hijacking
the
their
business.
transfers.
Yeah.
Who do y'all think they're gonna get?
Um,
Rafa.
I think Leao would be
I
really
don't.
good for them.
The
I
thing
don't know if
is,
he would go there.
if he would go there, are you taking out Martinelli, putting him on the bench, or Saka on the bench? Like
Martinelli.
who do you take out on the wing?
I think
I
Saka's
think it's
too
just depth.
important. Leao doesn't start for Arsenal.
You're not getting. There's no way
You're not
Leao
getting
goes
Leao just to
just at the bench.
No,
back up Martinelli.
I'm saying Martinelli would be for depth.
Or do you change the? No, you don't change anything.
Do you think they should sign a
Like
Do you
what?
striker as
think?
well? I think them signing a striker would be really important.
Do you think
What is?
Leao would work with Arteta?
He could
Why
learn.
wouldn't you?
I think everything Leao does is better than what Martinelli can do. So he just slide right in. I feel like
Is Leao a striker or a winger?
he's left wing.
Although
So
I
Ronaldo,
have never really
I'm
been a
assuming.
big Declan Rice fan, he could be really helpful for them because Partey is really inconsistent. And sorry to Arsenal fans, but Granit Xhaka is hot garbage. He's so bad.
Really? That's a hot take.
But Odegaard, with Odegaard in front and Declan Rice behind him, um, I think that would complete their midfield.
I think Declan Rice would be a good player with Arsenal, but I feel like he's been linked a lot with Chelsea, and I think he'd be almost a better player for Chelsea than he would be at Arsenal. I don't think Conor Gallagher is capable of replacing Conte. I know they play different play styles, but I'd say similar positions. Chelsea needs a defensive midfielder because I don't think Conte is playing another game for them. I think Declan Rice would be the perfect defensive midfielder for them. He runs maybe not as much as Conte, but he runs nearly as much as Conte. He's really good on the ball. His progressive carries are really good. I think he'd be the best player for Chelsea to sign, really, defensive midfielder and Declan Rice.
Did you guys see? Apparently Chelsea's trying to go after Caicedo from Brighton, and they want like 75
Really?
mil for him. Yeah.
75 million.
Yeah.
Potter ball.
Just
That's
sell
it.
it, bro.
Potter wants his old players.
Potter. He's about to have
That
the
would be it.
whole Brighton lineup. Maybe that's where
But I
Trossard will go.
also think Declan Rice would be good in the pivot.
I think we need to do a quick prayer for Billy Gilmore. He got signed to Brighton so he can play with Potter, and then Potter got moved to Chelsea.
I can't believe we sold him though.
I don't think he sold him. I think he's
There's
on
no
loan.
reason for that. No, we sold him.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was class.
Well, you said something about Ronaldo earlier. Do you want to continue?
I think he was talking
Is
about.
is Ronaldo's transfer a money deal, or does he really just want to raise soccer or football in Saudi Arabia?
I think neither, personally.
Neither.
I don't think he needs the money. I think he just wants a different experience. Like he said, he's completed the European football. I don't think he needs any. Like he doesn't have to prove himself anymore. So for him to go move to a nice, warm country and just enjoy his life and be an important player, I don't think Ronaldo's worried about money personally.
Well, yeah,
I don't think he's.
all the fans there seem to just love him, and I don't know why he would want to go somewhere where he's just getting like heckled and called washed and all this stuff when all the fans there love him. So maybe he plays great there, and some European club wants to sign him.
I don't see how it could not be about money where he's going. I mean,
I
just
think
the sheer
also
volume. Go ahead.
I was going to say because I think Al Nasser is one. I mean, I think he's already on pretty high wages. I don't think any other club in the world would be financially able to sign him. Like, not many other clubs would be able to financially sign him that would want him. I think Al Nasser for them would be a no-brainer to sign a superstar like him because he'd bring so much to them. But also, I don't think any other club would have the financial capacity to be able to afford a player like Ronaldo.
You don't think he would take like a pay decrease and go finish his career in Lisbon?
Play for free.
I thought he was going to do that
He
personally.
probably
I
could play.
expected him to go back to Portugal, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
I saw Al Nasser was trying to get someone else, but I forgot who it was. I saw
Half
something
the population they're trying to get.
about.
They're trying to get
was-
Icardi, Conte.
Yeah, it was Conte. That's what it was. It was Conte.
So Ahmed, did you say you don't think Kessie is gonna leave with the Kessie Brozovic swap?
Personally, I don't think. Before I say anything about if I think he's going to leave, I think that'd be a horrible transfer. I think Kessie is not too old. He's relatively not young, but I think he's under 25 years old. I think he's a good player. Good, he brings something different to the table. I don't think Brozovic is good enough to play for Barcelona personally. I've heard many reports that Kessie's happy at Barcelona, so I don't see why he would want to leave. I know he's not probably getting as many minutes as he expected, but all we need is just one issue, like one, strain of injuries in midfield for him to get his place a starting 11 spot for a little bit. I think I would personally want to keep him, and he was free also, so I wouldn't mind keeping him.
And if he goes back, he's going to his ex club's rival.
Yeah, like a Chanelaglu.
All right. I think Sarabia to Wolves is going to be really good. Because Wolves are not in peak form right now, and their midfield is struggling, especially Neves once out. So I think that um, having a player who's not Sarabia is not like top class, but he's solid and he's consistent. So I think that'd be good player for him.
I think that'd be a good idea. Also, they get Wolves getting a PSG player. How can it go wrong? All right, I think now would be a good time to talk about a few players that we think our club should sign. I personally don't want to go first. Do any of the Chelsea or City fans want to go first?
The only real answer to that question is Rafa Leao. We don't need anyone. We have every spot that we need filled, but I love Rafa Leao so much, and if we could swap him with Grealish, I've been a Grealish supporter. I've defended him. I've hyped him up, but I think Leao for a Grealish swap would be perfect, and I would love having Leao on the field every week with Foden on the other side or Mahrez on the other side with Haaland up top, unstoppable.
I think that'd be a really good transfer for City, and I know they can afford him.
Lucas, what are you thinking?
I don't think Chelsea needs any more attackers with all the ones they have coming in, like Nkunku and Modric and all those guys. So I'd focus replacing players like Conte and Jorginho. So maybe a player like Declan Rice or maybe even Enzo if Benfica lets up some. And also center backs, I'd probably try to go for Gavardiol. I think he'd be great in a Chelsea uniform.
I like that.
What about your left back situation?
There is no situation.
I forgot
Is
Chilwell
Chilwell back?
And Chilwell's good.
All right.
If we can get through this injury spell, I think Chelsea could be a top 9 team again.
All right, I've got some transfer themed questions for you guys. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, first one. This one should be pretty easy, pretty obvious. Who was the most expensive transfer of 2022?
No, Neymar. Guys, I answered Neymar. What are you? Whoa.
Was Lukaku this year?
No.
Last year?
Oh, this year?
2022?
Oh, this year.
2022.
I said 2022, bro. You were so
I
confident
answered
with
before you
Neymar.
finished.
I don't remember when Lukaku was.
Lukaku was 2021.
Feels stupid right now.
There's Modric. There's
Not
Grealish.
Are you counting summer transfers as well?
Grealish was last year, wasn't it?
Anything that was in 2022.
I don't remember who was in 2022.
Hold on.
Ronaldo. Wait, that was after.
Oh, I know. Darwin Nunez.
No.
Nope. I'll give you a hint. The actual transfer fee was 95 million.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony from Ajax to United. Dang, I thought that one would be a little bit easier, but I'm glad that it wasn't.
He's
It would have
just
taken
such
me.
a
I
shadow
probably
player.
wouldn't have got it either. Which transfer of 2022 had the biggest gap between market value and transfer fee?
Modric. No, that's 2023. Wait, is it? You said 2022?
2022.
Okay. Between fee and
I'll give
the
you a
actual value.
yeah. Oh well, no, the player. If you want to say the value too, you can. I'll give you a hint though. The fee was lower than the market value.
Aubameyang. Oh, wait, never mind.
No. The fee was lower than the market value.
Who was a good deal?
Was it a free transfer?
Gakpo?
It was not a free transfer. It was not Gakpo.
Alright, hold up.
I think we can all make one guess
Dude's
and then we
gotta
give
look
a
it
hint.
up.
I'm not looking it up. It's on FotMob.
I'll give you guys a
Okay.
hint. His market value was 150 million.
Oh,
Holland.
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
The
My
the
ball
gap
knowledge is
was
just way
90
too good.
million. His fee was 60 million, so
That feels like it happened so long ago.
it
That's
does.
crazy.
All right. This one, no chance you guys get this. If you get this, your ball knowledge is truly superior.
I'm ready.
All right. Who was the
Hit me.
first ever recorded transfer fee?
What?
How much was it?
No, who was it?
Who was it? How? If you want to guess, how much was it? I'll give you a hint. It was
LA
in
to New York
18.
Cosmos.
It was in 1893.
Dude, we're just not gonna get this. Just skip the question. If anybody gets this, I'll quit the podcast.
All right, all right. I'll tell you. It was a Scottish dude named Willie Groves. He was in the Premier League, or what was the Premier League? Can you guess which either the team he came from or the team he went to?
He went to Liverpool.
West Ham.
Didn't.
Rangers.
No, all is wrong. He went from West Brom to Aston Villa. All right, take a guess at what you think the transfer fee was.
$3.
10,000. No, 1,000.
Lower than 10,000.
300 pounds.
Lower.
Wow.
110.
He went for 100 pounds or around 117 euros.
That's crazy.
That's
How many
pocket
dollars would that
change,
have
bro.
been?
I have no clue.
Like,
All right, two more questions. I will be
Okay.
impressed by anyone that gets this. Who were Bayern Munich's 5 most recent transfers? This does not include people that came back from loans or people that got called up to the first team.
Mane.
Mane's
Blind,
one.
Mane,
Blind.
Delic,
You guys can work together.
Mazraoui.
Upamecano.
Mazraoui?
What?
Have they done any other ones this summer? I mean, this winter? Are there any other ones from this winter?
Yes, there's one more from this winter.
All I remember is Blind.
So far, y'all have said Blind, Mane, and who's the third one you said?
Delic.
Delict.
Upamecano is not one of them.
Mm-mm.
What?
I guess that was a couple
of years ago.
There's one winter and one summer.
I'm trying to think. Of
All the
winter
summer
one.
ones were by a few days. That's why Mazraoui's not one of them.
Gravenberch.
Mm-hmm.
No, close though.
What?
There was one summer transfer later than both of them.
Did the summer transfer player play for his country in the World Cup?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know.
Dude, I
Must
have
not
no
be a good
idea.
player.
All right, the summer
I think he's
transfer
Argentinian.
was Matisse Tell,
Oh.
and the winter transfer was Arihan Ibrahimovic.
Who?
Ibrahimovic?
There's no way. There's no way we're getting that. Tell I might have
Huh?
gotten maybe if I thought
Your
about it, but I
ball
would have
knowledge,
never
bro.
gotten the
All right,
Ibrahim.
we'll end with an easy one. Get your confidence back up. Who's your team's most expensive signing, and how much were they?
Are you
Who's going
asking
first?
individually?
Who's going first?
Coutinho,
Lucas, you go.
and he was
Well, this would just answer for me and Will.
Lukaku.
Lukaku, 100 million.
It was more than that, right?
Do you know the exact
110.
number?
110.
Close.
Uh,
It was 113.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
Ahmed,
I was gonna
what'd
say
you
that.
say?
I was gonna say that.
I said Coutinho, and I believe he was 137 million.
There was one person that was 140 million. That's not Coutinho.
Dembele.
And
Wow.
since
Wow.
Lucas did Chelsea, Tri-City.
Jack Grealish, 100 million.
Bro, I told Will. You
I
bot.
was probably gonna say that. I
It was
didn't think of how much the
117
coin
million.
was. Was it? It was Grealish though, right?
Yeah, it was Grealish for 117 million.
I thought it was 100 even.
All right. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of the Ball Knowledge Podcast. Hopefully, we'll see you next week for episode 2. Thank you very much.
I miss the old Kanye, straight from the gold Kanye. Chop up the soul Kanye, set on his goals Kanye. I hate the new Kanye.